Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to Anatomy of Us podcast. My name is Seth Studley. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, and if this is the first time you are joining the show, we have over 500 episodes of marriage content, of personal growth content, individual content, all in hopes of making you a better person, making your marriage better, making your family better, and growing. So, thank you very much for joining us. Please remember to share the show if it's good, if it's helpful, and obviously, the more pretty part of the show is not here today. Melanie, the co-host, the founder of this show, she's not here. I'm doing some solo episodes today, and I want to talk to you guys about some stuff. So let's dive straight into it. So today I'm going to be talking about others validated, others validation, and self-validated self-validation. And this concept was shared with me by Melanie. And the lady who put out this post, her name is Rachel Wortman, and she's a pretty cool lady. Go follow her on Instagram, last name Wortman. And this post was really cool, and I want to thank Melanie for sharing it with me. And if you do share stuff with your spouse, never make the mistake of, here, I wish you were like this wife, or here, I wish you were like this husband. Why can't you be better? Because then that's just a kind of a... it is a passive-aggressive way to get your spouse to do something. And you guys, that doesn't work. So Melanie shared this post with me because she knows me, she cares about me, and she loves me, and said, hey, I think this might be helpful for you. And it really resonated with me, and I wanted to talk about it more and give a more in-depth look at it, and then also add some clinical stuff on it, and then give you guys 5 tips to help integrate this into your thinking, into your marriage, into your own day-to-day life. So, okay, let's start with self-validated. So the definition, the literal definition of self-validated, self-validating is the feeling of having recognized, confirmed, or established one's own worthiness or legitimacy. And what I read that is as the feeling, the thoughts, how you think about yourself, your recognition of yourself, your thoughts, your patterns, and you've established your own worthiness of that. Now, this can go one of two ways. Is you can think, oh, well, I'm so great because I've this, and this, and I deserve these things. People should know X, Y, Z. But that goes into wrong thinking territory. The healthy thinking part of this is, hey, I have feelings, I have preferences, I have desires, I have goals, and I am worthy of reaching those goals, or I have done XYZ work, and therefore I can call myself a licensed therapist, or I can call myself a professional podcaster or audio engineer. So Melanie has produced all of our shows for 6 years. She is, and other shows as well, a lot of other shows. So she is an established, respected audio engineer, podcast producer, podcast maker, right? So she's legit in that. And if she said, yeah, this is my profession, this is what I do, then she has the work to back it up, right? Same thing with me, a licensed therapist, almost 15 years, a lot of hours, a lot of clients. I can call myself a licensed marriage and family therapist, not only because I had the school and the licensure and the professional pieces of it. I've done that work, right? So that is legit. That's not saying, hey, look at us, this is so awesome. No, we've done the work. Check it out. Here's the history. Go with it or not. So that would be a self-validating thing in a healthy way. And so the opposite of that, and Rachel talks about it, being an others validated person would be like, I only have, it goes back to what I've talked about before. There's a theoretical therapist named Eric Byrne a long time ago, and he created transactional analysis, and he wrote a book called I'm Okay, You're Okay. And what that is saying is, I'm only okay, I'm only secure, solid, happy if I know that you are okay. And that borderlines into codependent thinking, codependency, different attachment styles and stuff like that, which that's not healthy, right? So being an others validated person is, I'm excited about something, I want to do something, and I expect other people to be either as happy about it as I am, or I'm only happy after I share it, if they give me that feedback of, oh my gosh, that's so awesome too. And if they don't do that, then my balloon deflates and I'm like, oh, well, maybe I'm not so happy, excited, enthusiastic about that thing as I thought I was, right? And maybe you guys can resonate with that. Maybe you are a others validated person. Do you get your primary validation, your sense of self, your sense of worthiness, or your sense of legitimacy as a person from other people, right? And in relationships, which we're primarily going to talk about today, do you get am I only a legitimate man, husband, father, dad? Same thing. Am I only a legitimate wife, mom, woman if somebody else is validating what I've done, right? Because then you get into really slippery territory of, oh, I only do this thing. I only make the bed because I want the pat on the back or the kudos from my wife or husband to say, hey, great job. Now, also, getting that positive feedback does feel good. There's not a single person here listening that does not like to have that acknowledgement either from a boss or especially from a spouse or a friend or a buddy saying, hey man, I saw you do that thing, thumbs up, good job, that's cool, right? That feels good. That's a little, I mean, it's a dopamine boost for sure, but also it's like a checkpoint. It's a waypoint to say, oh, you're going on the right direction, right? Say if you're in a work setting and the boss gives you a project and she says, hey, great job on phase 1 of that project. You know, you're doing the right things here. 8 out of 10 of the bullet points that I assigned to you, awesome work. You're like, sweet, I'm doing something right. Okay, I'm going to continue to keep on doing those things, right? And then some constructive feedback, constructive criticism on the other 2 points that we weren't doing so well, right? So that's okay. It's okay to get some level of validation from other people, especially your spouse, because then that is an indicator of you are going the right way. Hey, keep on doing that thing. In fact, there's a whole theory about this. It's called, what's in the brief family therapy, it's called solution-focused therapy, right? If you and your spouse have gotten along, say that you had a great date night, right? Look at all the indicators, the waypoints that allowed that great date night to happen, right? Oh, I cleaned the kitchen. The grass was cut. The kids had a babysitter. We were attuning to each other. Those are feedback points of, hey, when you do these things, you get the desired outcome that you want, if that makes sense. Hopefully it makes sense. So, being validated is a good thing, right? Where it borderlines into codependence, oh, I'm only others validated. I don't know who I am or what I think or what I'm doing unless somebody or something tells me. So then you get into tough territory, right? So being others validated would be, I'm excited about this thing. I have a preference, but because they didn't want it, now I don't want it. So how sure was I or how certain was I in my own thoughts beforehand? You know, it's like, you can be the life of the party if everybody around you is supporting you and being the life of the party, right? But if you don't have that outside support system of people saying, hey, great job, then you end up not knowing who you are or what you're doing, and that can be a pretty bad place, right? So what I want to share, I have 3 points and then 3 5 points. So one way to answer the question, if you're others validated or self-validated, is this. Ask yourself where your actions alone prove or support your validation. And that's kind of what I was talking about the Melanie's a podcast producer, I'm a therapist, and we have data, historical data to back that up. So that claim that Melanie is a podcast engineer or a therapist is corroborated by what we have done in the past, right? So I could say, oh, if you're thinking, well, I don't know if I'm a good wife or I don't know if I'm a good husband. Well, look back in the years of your relationship. I don't know if I'm a good mom or dad or a good worker. Look back in your relationship and identify the fruits the good things of those. So I just keep on using us as an example because that's what we're closest to, right? So Melanie is a good podcast producer, podcast engineer, as evidenced by over 500 episodes. She's gotten paid by other companies to produce and engineer episodes. She does all kinds of stuff. So she takes that, which is outside validation, but she's not looking for that, but it proves that she is in this realm of where she says that she is, right? So say for a dad out there, I don't know if I'm a good dad. I don't know. Tell me what have the last 5 years of your life looked like? Have you been, do you have a bad relationship with your kids? Is your marriage on the rocks? Are you about to get fired from your job? Are you in a crappy job that you don't like? Okay, let's look at the fruits of those. So if you say that, I'm recognized, I confirm myself and all this stuff. Well, let's look at the fruits, right? And this hits home for me with the conversations that me and Melanie are having right now. And I consider this as just, it's number one, a huge growth point, and it's very helpful. So I highly suggest you take a look at this stuff and identify where you are, assess where you are. Look at the fruits of your financials, of the state of your marriage, of the relationship with your kids, of your career, and go, okay, do I want to be where I am right now? And if you say no, okay, that's fine. You can continue to grow to where you want to go. Or if you say, you know what, I've done all these things and I'm not where I want to go. I need to change something. Nothing changes if nothing changes. So you have to be willing to take a real hard look at that, if that makes sense. Like for us right now, I'm not financially where I want to be, and it's because of some of the mistakes that I've made, right? Relationally with our marriage, we're fine, but we're going through a lot of things that we are that we're talking about that have not been realized but are being realized now, and the groundwork is being laid to get to where we want to be, right? Our family's pretty good. Like family stuff is super fun. I am currently enhancing and building the relationships that I have with each kid, which is really good. Have I made mistakes? Of course, we've all made mistakes. But are we willing to lay the groundwork down to do the things that need to be done to get to where we say we want to be? And sometimes that's incongruent. For me, it's been incongruent a lot. And right now, we're reworking all of that stuff. So if I was saying, oh yeah, I'm self-validated, I'm where I want to be and all this stuff, but I look back at the fruit and go, wait a minute, that's incongruent. No, that's not true. Then I have to face that it's like that. I have to face the reality of what it is, right? And be willing to go, aches, that hurts. You're right. I'm not where I want to be because of this, this, and this, and this, and take accountability for that. And then to get to where we want to be and do the work, right? Which I have some tips also, but that'll be a little bit later. Okay, number 2. If you can't answer number 1, then you may have a problem. And that goes to the idea of congruency or incongruency that I was talking about. Oh, we have a great marriage. It's awesome. Okay, well, how many times have you had sex in the last 6 months? Well, I don't know, twice. Is that how many times you want to be together with your spouse? Well, no, not at all. Okay, assess that. Look what part you had to play in that, and then do the work, lay the groundwork to get where you want to go, right? So you have to be real with question number 1. If you want it, you can't solve a problem if you don't even know a problem's there, And even worse than that, if you see the problem is there, you go, oh yeah, that's too embarrassing, or I can't do that, man, I'm shameful about that, and you just ignore it, then you will, I promise you this, you will be in a worse situation than you started out with, right? So you have to identify the problem, you have to accept the problem, and then take the next steps and be willing to work on the problem. So number 3, change it, right? Put reminders to change, journal, process your thoughts, practice stop thoughts, which are other things that I'm going to talk about in a little bit. I say, okay, so going back to the idea of others validated versus self-validated, this becomes a problem in relationships because you might be to a point where you can't do anything unless your spouse is giving you positive feedback to some degree. And what that does to your spouse is it puts the onus, it puts the responsibility and accountability on them to fix a problem that you have and to fix a problem that you created. And that's not fair. Number one, it's not attractive. Your spouse is not going to become more attracted to you if you keep on doing that. Number two, it makes more emotional work for them, because now they have to be worried about your emotional fragility. And again, I'm talking often a lot about myself in this. They have to be worried about your emotions, your feelings, what kind of mood you're in when it's your work that you have to do, and you're in the situation because it's a problem that you caused in the first place, right? So you're putting the emotional work on your spouse for a problem that you caused, for a problem that you want them to fix now. And that's not a good place to be, you guys. You have to identify it, and you have to take accountability all around it, right? So I can be okay if I want to go hunting, I'm super excited about hunting, and making all the plans, and I go, Melanie, guess what? I'm going to do this thing. I'm going hunting. And she's like, okay, cool. Do you know how many times that I have reacted poorly to that? And do you know how many times we have heard other wives and other husbands write in with the same thing? I'm so excited about this thing, but my spouse is just a wet blanket on it. Okay, well, there might be a lot of reasons for that. Number one, maybe you've been a douchebag for a long time, and when you go do that thing or whatever, all the housework, all the financial responsibility, all the emotional work around the kids, all the emotional work around the marriage lies on the other spouse, right? And your butt hurt because they're not excited about a thing that's going to cause more work for them. That's not okay. That is not okay. That is a position of emotional weakness. And if you're a guy doing this too, which I have been guilty of, if you're a guy that's doing that, I would say that is weak as a guy, right? In fact, you're giving your power away to other people. And whenever we give our power away in any capacity, it doesn't feel good. And I promise you, it's not going to make you feel better. That's just not how the world works. Melanie talks about the divine order of love. That is one big part of how the divine order of love would, if that element was in there, it's not part of the divine order of love, and it's not going to work for you, right? So I can be happy. Hey, Melanie, going hunting. Okay, let's back up. Have I done all my responsibilities around the house? Did I say what I was going to do? Am I taking care of the other things in areas that I must show up in, that I must take care of? First of all, you have to check yes on that. Okay, so it's not going to put her out. It's not going to make her life worse because I'm going to do something that I really like, right? So that's number one. And she does not have to be super excited, super ecstatic about something that she doesn't really care about anyway, right? And if she's not, I'm going to go, hey, that's your preference. This is my preference. I don't need that validation from you. And that's not saying it in a rude way or anything like that. I don't need that validation from you. I'm okay with you not being as enthusiastic about hunting as I am. And that's okay, right? And then you part ways, right? That is self-validating. That is giving myself the feeling of, hey, things are cool. It's okay if she doesn't like it as much as I do. That's the amount that I like it is not determined on if she likes it or not, right? If she does like it, that's fine. I was super excited when Melanie went camping this year up to Huckleberry Camp. I take my kids every year. We have fun. We go up there and everything. And just recently, this summer of 23, Melanie went up there for the first time in our whole 20 years of marriage, right? I was super excited about it. It was a lot of fun, right? I was glad that she was up there. Now, did she have a good time? Yeah, I think so. Was it relaxing? Was it enjoyable? Yes. Were there elements of it that she didn't like that I liked? Yeah, of course. But just because she didn't like some things and she wasn't as enthusiastic, and she was great. She was super enthusiastic and enjoyed it. But if she wasn't, that would not make me go, oh, camping is stupid. I shouldn't have been going all these years and there's no value in it, right? I don't need her validation to do something that I like and enjoy. Again, husbands especially, you have to take care of everything else before you go do that thing so it doesn't put more work on your spouse, right? I've been guilty of that in the past, really trying to pay attention, not trying to, really paying attention to it now. So it's like when I go, I can enjoy it and be of clear and free conscience of, yeah, I did all the stuff that I said I was going to do at home, taking care of all the responsibilities, this, that, and that for the most part. And then you can go and do stuff, right? Now, have there been times where that's not happened? Of course there has. Of course there has, right? Are there times where right now, again, I said that me and Melanie are working through stuff right now. Am I realizing some stuff about myself? Well, the answer is yes, first of all. Otherwise, I wouldn't be doing the others validated and self-validated podcast here. We're still working through stuff, and in a good growth mindset marriage, I believe that this trajectory goes forever. I was talking to a group recently. It was a men's breakfast at church, actually, and we were talking about the more you grow, the more you have a growth mindset, the more ideas or philosophies or thoughts that you're exposed to spiritually, physically, mentally, emotionally, it just highlights what you don't know yet, right? The more you know, the more you figure out, the more you don't know, if that makes sense, right? The wiser I get, the more dumber I am, kind of thing. If that Melanie's dad says it a certain way, it's like, yeah, the wiser I get, the more I come to realize that I don't know a whole lot, right? And I think that's a good place to be, because you learn this thing, then it opens the gate to two more things, right? And you learn, one more thing in this area, one more thing in this area, then it's two more things, right? So it started with 1, went to 2, went to 4, went to 8. So exponentially, it just opens doors, right? And I think I know that is a really, really good place to be, because that's where growth happens, you guys, right? Expansion. So, okay. Now, practical tips that I have used and Melanie has used in our journey to, I've struggled with others' validation far more than Melanie has. I'll be honest there, just from family of origin, how we grew up. I want to be more like her in that of like, I like it, there's no apologies, and sure, you can like it or not like it. It's not going to diminish how much I like this one thing or am enthusiastic about this thing, right? And people who are more others validated will take offense to the person who is more self-validated, because that's going to come off as arrogance. It's going to come off as rude, maybe obnoxious, maybe a little like grinding. We're like, oh, you're this. I've definitely said that to Melanie. That's a failure on my part, and it is a growth point that I realized and am continuing to work through, right? So if your partner has accused you of that, number one, share the show with them and say, you can't do that anymore. It doesn't work, right? Because, and it's almost saying it this way, because I am healthier than you in this area, you can't get mad at me for being healthier than you are and exposing areas that you need to grow. Let me say that again. You, talking to myself here, you can't get mad at the person that is healthier than you are in an area for highlighting just by their behavior, the areas where you need to grow, where you need to shed some family of origin stuff that you learned that is not serving you anymore, where you need to dig in and do the work through therapy, through coaching, through disciplined acts of consistency for you to grow, right? We used to get questions like this all the time. Hey, I'm into this growth mindset stuff. Your podcast is cool. I'm diving into family of origin, but my spouse is having none of it. My spouse is saying, hey, who are you? You're changing. You're XYZ. And this, I remember specifically this happening in a couple of instances in my own family and with clients that I work with. Oftentimes clients say, well, who does she think she is? Oh, well, they're just better than me now. Like, oh, he can't drink beer with us and eat pizza and watch the game. He's got to do 75 hard or something. Well, okay, wow, must be nice. Okay, Mister Abs, go do your thing, right? That's only highlighting. You're getting butthurt because the person that's close to you is highlighting the areas where you need to grow, right? So if you're the person that's getting butthurt, I think we've all been there, right? Take a step back and go, oh, wait a minute. Why am I getting hurt? Why does that rub me the wrong way so much? Why does that trigger me so much? Maybe because it's true. Maybe because it is an area that you want to grow. Maybe you're not mad at the other person. Maybe you're mad at yourself because you know your potential, but what you're doing is down here. Your potential is way up here. Yeah, I can do this and do this. Yeah. I mean, that's what I struggle with, right? I say a lot of things, and I've done a lot of things, but sometimes the person that I say I am, the person I say I want to be, is way up here, but the actions are down here. So what I'm working on is leveling that out, is rising up. It's not the person way up here coming down. It is the person down here coming up, right? The person down here coming up, actually achieving what they say they want to achieve, actually achieving the potential that they believe, and then what gets released after that? When the who you are rises up to who you say you want to be, frustration, anger, that inner turmoil of incongruent behavior, incongruent thoughts, incongruent actions, that goes away. And you're not carrying that anymore because you leveled up. Maybe think of that 7-Up game we used to play in elementary school. 7-Up something, I forget. But I hope that makes sense to you guys, right? So part of this is now I'm going to give you tips. If you're saying, yep, I am an others validated person, I take my self-esteem, my self-confidence, I can be excited about something, but when I tell somebody else, it's just a wet blanket, and then that puts me in a bad mood, and I'm butthurt, and then I don't even like it anymore. You may be an others validated person, right? And I want you to change that because I know the pain and the frustration of living an others validated life, and it sucks. It's not fun. It doesn't increase confidence. It doesn't increase self-esteem. In fact, it erodes it because you go, oh, well, did I really want that anyway? And then that's really confusing, right? And we don't want that. And then it produces anxiety and all kinds of stuff. So, 5 practical tips now. Number 1, I carry this with me all the time. I used to get moleskin journals, but those were far more expensive than just the Amazon ones, which are literally exact same. Same paper, same little pockets, same everything, right? So get these on Amazon. They're $7.99 compared to $24.99. Journal your thoughts. Spend 10 minutes a day. I prefer in the morning, getting up mostly before Melanie, sometimes not. When it's quiet, have a cup of coffee, do a little reading, get your brain going, get out your thoughts, right? When you journal, number 1, you're thinking about your thinking. You're writing it down, so you're getting it out of your mind and onto the paper. And then when you actually write it down, you read it. And as you read it, you process it. And then as you process it, you write down the next thoughts. So it's a beautiful feedback loop of it's in my head, it's swirling around. So number 1, you get the luxury of getting it out of your head, right? Number 2, you get to read what you're thinking. And oftentimes you can write down something and go, wait a minute, I'm not really thinking that. I don't think that's true of myself. So then you can correct your thinking to improve your thinking, right? And then you read it. And then say that I was carrying in my head, I was anxious, right? Oh, Seth, you've been lazy, man. You're not doing right. Okay, I write that down. Seth, you've been lazy. You're not doing it right. Hold on. Pause. Let me read what I wrote down. Well, wait a minute. You are doing right. You're just not where you want to be yet, and you're definitely not lazy, and you're doing the work. Oh, okay. So I've corrected an incorrect thinking. Number one, I've gotten it out of my head. Number two, I've corrected incorrect thinking, bad thinking. Number three, I reframe it and go, wait a minute, you're not lazy. You do stuff. You have plans. You have goals. Then you affirm what you're actually doing. And then when you affirm what you're doing, that expands into new things. Oh, you are journaling. Oh, you know what? Let me write down this thought and let me make myself a reminder. So then it expands, right? And then you read it back and then you can write down new stuff. Oh, you're not lazy. You're just struggling right now, but you're doing what you need to do in order to get where you want to go. Okay, cool. You think that builds self-esteem? You think that increases confidence? Emotional, spiritual, mental, physical? Yes, it does. Number two, set alarms. Now, we've talked about prayer alarms forever and how beneficial those were for our marriage. In fact, Jesus saved our marriage because of prayer alarms, because we dove headfirst into that saying, we have nothing else, we have to do prayer. There's no doubt that prayer was absolutely the correct thing to do. It saved our marriage. It helped, right? So I'm not saying set prayer alarms. Well, I am. They're helpful, right? Me and Melanie have one at 12 and 6 p.m. Set alarms. Oh, did you journal today? You can write little notes. Oh, okay, went off 8:30 a.m. Did you journal today? Oh, nope, got busy. Let me take a minute, write down some thoughts. Set alarms for reminders of things you know that will benefit you in the future. Okay, number 3, affirmations. And I'm not talking about cheesy affirmations that say, live life, live, love, laugh, pray every day, whatever, these things that you buy at Hobby Lobby or Walmart or whatever. Those things are fine. I'm not making fun of them. But affirmations, you have the power to affirm who you are and where you want to be. Just make sure that those affirmations are congruent with where you want to go and are true, right? I can't affirm, Seth, you're a great dad. You're a great dad, Seth. And have these write it down and read it 5 times a day, and then come home and yell at my kids. Come home and always say no when Hattie wants to jump on the trampoline, or me and Mariner want to go. Lately, we've been knocking apples out of the tree and throwing them at this target about 40 yards away, right? It's just fun. It's something fun, I can't be a great dad saying, nah, I'm not going to do that, right? I can't be a great dad when Tuff says, hey, Dad, can you take me to the skate park? And then him and I hang out at the skate park, and then we have some great conversations going up there and then coming back. I can't be a great dad if I'm not doing those things. So I'm not talking about those types of affirmations. I'm talking about an affirmation like, okay, I'm just kind of making this up, but it's something that I have said in the last at least 10 years. Seth, you're a good dad, you're a good husband, you're a hard worker. Keep on going, right? You've made mistakes. Keep on going. You have a growth mindset. You want more than you currently have right now because you know you can be more than you are right now. Keep working at it. So these are like reminders, some gentle reminders and some kick in the ass reminders of like, hey, shut up and do the work. Oh, I'm tired. I don't want to. Shut up and do the work. That's an actual affirmation. Shut up and do the work because you are capable of it. That is an affirmation. That's probably tends to get me fired up, and that leans towards more of like the style that I like. Hey, shut up and do the work. Go for it, right? Okay, number 3, and this is going into the realm of some cognitive behavioral stuff, right? CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy. And you've heard us talk about this before. Stop thoughts. So if you have a thoughts that is others or tends to be leaning in towards the others' validation, then I would say do a stop thought exercise, which stop thought is you have a thought in your mind. It just enters into your mind. Hey, you can't do it. Hey, this is stupid. Hey, give up. Hey, you're no good unless Melanie says you're good. Stop that thought. And I have done this so many times and told other clients to do it so many times. Stop the thought. And you can arrest that thought and say, I like to do it out loud because then I can hear it audibly. Hey, what? That's not true. What are you talking about, Seth? That's the kind of thing I say. You just said that you're not a good dad. No, you are a good dad as evidenced by the things that you have done, the things that good dads do. Okay? Stop thought. It's okay to have these negative thoughts. It's okay to have that negative tape recorder in your mind as long as you can press stop on that negative tape recorder and shake some truth on it. And that's point number 5 here. Stop the thoughts. So first you identify that, right? Being aware of something is the first step to being cured from it. Awareness is curative, right? So identify the thought, stop the thought, go, wait, what? No. I like the thing no matter what Melanie's response was or not. She wasn't as enthusiastic about it as I was, but that doesn't mean that I don't like it. That doesn't mean that I'm okay, that I'm not okay doing it or not doing it. No, it's totally legit that I go hunting during season, after all the other stuff is taken care of. Okay, that's the reality of it, right? And then we're going to shake some truth on it, right? If we have a negative thought, first we stop it, and then you shake some truth on it. And this goes back to one thing that I was saying. This kind of like point number 3, the affirmations. No, a good dad takes his kid to the skate park. A good dad provides. A good dad throws apples with his kid. A good dad jumps on the trampoline with their daughter. Oh, okay, I'm shaking some truth on it. I do those things. And there are things that I need to continue to work on. And I'm going to do that because I put in these other steps. I've set alarms. I've set affirmations. I've journaled about them. Right? Now, if you just skip all those things and go, well, I'm just going to go to the affirmation part and shake some truth on it, but it's halfway truth. That's not going to work, you guys. Right? So the 5 practical tips, I'm going to recap them right here. And this is all if you have suffered from, and I say suffer from because it can be quite anxiety producing and crazy making. If we are others validated, we only get our self-esteem, self-confidence, self-worth from others, which that's giving our power away, which we don't want to do, versus self-validated, right? So 5 practical steps to self-validation. In fact, that should be the name of the podcast. 5 practical steps to self-validation. Journal, set alarms to remind yourself, create affirmations that you can set alarms to read to yourself, stop thoughts, arrest those thoughts, stop that negative tape recorder, and then number 5, shake some truth on it, right? So you guys, I hope this has been helpful. Thank you, Rachel Wortman, for this. Thank you, Melanie, for sending me Rachel Wortman's content. It's been awesome. It has produced all these other thoughts here. So I hope this helps you guys. If you have more questions about this, email us at hello@anatomyofus.com or hit us up on Instagram or Facebook or YouTube. Thank you guys very much. It is a pleasure to talk to you guys about these things. I pray that Jesus and God help you in your marriage, that you get your self-worth, your self-confidence, your identity in Him. I finally understood that after years, which I can talk about later. And guys, share the show. If this has been helpful at all, please share the show. Send it to your spouse. Send it to your grandma, your auntie, your uncle, whoever. So guys, thank you so much, and we love you. And remember, hit us up, hello@anatomyofus.com. All right, peace.